Now is not the time to buy property. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee, let's look at this article from finder.com.au which is discussing, a fall in the desire of people thinking it's a good time to buy a property. Now, just 35% think it's a good time to buy. And this is written by Tyler Blackburn from Finder. So, as house prices continue to rise, consumers don't believe that now is a good time to buy property, according to new research by Finder. Now, we have to realize consumer sentiment plays an important role in the economy, probably plays more of a role than anything else. You can see in the US, just the Fed talking about things can affect the stock market. They don't even have to do stuff, they just have to hint at stuff. So if you've got a sentiment or the vibe out there in the populace that now isn't the time to buy, maybe we'll start to see a cooling or a slowing down in the housing sector. Or this could just be, perhaps it's one segment of the buyers. So Finder's Consumer Sentiment Tracker is the largest chronological consumer survey in Australia, with 30,230 respondents over the course of the past 2.5 years. Each quarter, Finder analyzes its most recent data to uncover the trends underpinning the financial, mental and physical health of Australian households. In this report, we break down the most interesting results and asked a select sample of 12 leading economists from Finder's RBA cash rate survey to weigh in on the results. So sentiment towards buying property hits a new low. Finder's Property Positivity Index shows that the number of Australians who think now is a good time to buy property hit its lowest levels on record in October 2021. The index continued its downward trend after hitting a peak in December 2020, where 67% of Australians felt it was a good time to buy property. That's a big fall, from 67% down to 35%. Brand new data from October 2021 shows just over a third, 35% of Australians, believe now is the time to buy after a small increase to 40% in September. So you can see here, look at that plunge. The beginning of this year was the peak. That's when everyone thought was the perfect time to buy property. Guys, what's your opinion? Did you think it was the perfect time to buy property there? The opportunity to get in? Graham Cook, head of consumer research at Finance, said property price growth was seemingly unstoppable. Extended lockdowns and border closures have done little to curb price growth this year. Rock bottom interest rates and the property boom instilled a fear of missing out among prospective home buyers. As we emerge from those lockdowns, a record number of Australians are now pessimistic that now is the time to buy, Cook said. Data from CoreLogic shows house prices are showing no signs of declining, with year-on-year price increases of between 14 and 31% in Australia's capital cities. The median house in Sydney now costs $1.2 million. Dale Gilham of Wealth Within said it was always a good time to buy property. Always a good time. But there are better times than others. I mean, that's like the whole buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip with the crypto people. At least property isn't as, it doesn't fluctuate as excitingly as crypto does. Low interest rates make the return on investment in borrowing to get into property very attractive right now. However, Shane Oliver of AMP Capital disagreed, noting now was not the time to buy. A year ago, when prices were still going down, was a good time to buy. But since then, affordability has deteriorated. So Australians feel negative towards affordability. There's been a notable increase in the number of Australians who feel extremely negative about their ability to afford a home in the future. In June, the index hit a high of 22%, surpassing its previous high of 17% in April 2020. Since then, the index has not dropped below 19%, so negativity about affordability. There you go. So that's at a high level. So the majority still are not negative about property affordability. 81% are not. And this is because, everyone, we are not, the income of Australians differs significantly. The high-income households are earning over $2,000 a week. This is households. Middle income are earning $930. Adjusted lower income are $433 a week. This is why there's such a difference. Australia pretends to be an egalitarian society, but there really is a difference between those of you that have a property and those who do not. That's the big difference. Renters are looked down upon in Australia, even though everyone wants to be a landlord. Everyone wants to be a landlord. No one wants to be a renter. Out of 12 leading economists, 83% believe that governments and authorities have a responsibility to address affordability issues. So Aussie savings are in decline. The average amount of money Australians save each month has fallen to its lowest level since before the pandemic. After a temporary uptick through July and August, average monthly savings hit $688 in September, the lowest level since March 2020. So there you go. It peaked. Cook said the dip was likely due to the threat of the pandemic slowly starting to pass. Once Australians begin to receive more certainty about the future, and with restrictions lifting across parts of the country, we can expect to see spending start to rise again. The Christmas month traditionally see an uptick in consumption. If Australians are free to travel and socialise for the first time in months this summer, we can expect spending to surge as people make the most of their freedoms, he said. And here we have the experts that I'll let you go through on your own. I'll link to this article. So, let's have a bit of a discussion about this one, guys. Because we're seeing, a decline in now is the good time to buy. So we still have the majority not concerned with housing affordability. You have 18 or 19% that are concerned with it. That means you've got 81% that are not. You've got economists, majority of them, over 80%, calling for government intervention in housing affordability. Now, I would argue that it's the government intervention that has caused the housing affordability issue. We've had our first recession in 28 years. And, of course, the government has intervened in the market to such an extent that we now have an overheating construction sector. Couple that with all of the supply chain issues resulting from the pandemic and issues getting goods into Australia and other parts in the world, and now petrol getting more expensive, it's just becoming a nightmare. So, let's see if the government will intervene. Will it be an election issue? That's going to be the next point. You've got the Liberal and National Party agreeing to net zero for 2050. What's Albanese going to come up with? What's he going to do to try and get housing more affordable? Will they get rid of negative gearing? We can see. Will that lose them the election? Are Australians ready to give up negative gearing? When the last proposal was a bullshit version of it, where all the boomers and everyone already in property got to keep it, and none of the new people that wanted to get into negative gearing would get it. I think you need to phase it out. I would suggest there needs to be a time period for a property that has negative gearing attached to it, and then it counts down. So you've got 10 years of it, and then down and down and down. Or an incentive to encourage people to actually positive gear these things. Because the problem is, people use property as a means to reduce their taxable income. So that increases the value for property because they're tools used to offset your income, the tax that you all pay. So people are thinking negative gearing provides affordable housing, but it also drives up the cost of housing because people use it to mitigate their tax, because tax is going up higher and higher and higher. It's a vicious cycle. It's fun and games. What do you think, everyone? Well, there's a video I'd like you to watch. Have a look at this one. This is from a month ago, the RBA sounding a house price warning. Have a look at that one. It's a rant video, guys, so be prepared, but I suggest you check that out. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and support the channel. I will see you all in the next video. Take care, guys. Bye for now.